thank you very much for see if we got this down. Okay. Anyway, so thank you all for your responses and what you're asking about HR. So I have a lot of opinions, having managed for 52 years. So and I'm going to go through to respond to each one of your questions. So first of all, let's talk about Kathy Oberbeck had asked, and thank you, Kathy, for the questions, actually the responses that you gave. And you said about the need to get employees to understand that selling is their job. And it is true. I think sometimes we're remiss in that in the recruiting and interviewing process, that we don't tell people, we don't emphasize enough that this is a great job to have, but it does require selling. We do require that. And where you can get that from, and I'll bring this up in the body here for you to read after you get through listening to me and you want to watch this again. But it all comes down to the recruiting and interviewing process. And if you can probe during that interview process to see if you're ending up with somebody with an excellent interactive personality, because that's what you really want, somebody that's natural at it. And if you want to know how to find that, now if you have a list of questions, and I think most of the time, most of the people either in my salon clients or people that just call me or email me for information, I find out that they're using kind of an antiquated list of questions. There are some questions that are perennial that are very important to know, particularly say in a screening of a candidate, not necessarily in the actual interview, but the screening, which is something like their wage expectations, where do they work currently, why did they leave that job, um, hours of availability. Those are screening questions. But when you get to the interview, you need a real good comprehensive list of questions. And that's to make sure that these people have the goods to be able to sell. So if you send me your email address, I will send you my comprehensive list of interview questions that go from the basic to the very advanced. Now, basic meaning if you're looking to hire a sales consultant, the first 2/3 of those questions are more or less along that line to find somebody that would be a good selling employee. The last third gets into what we call the supervisory or management type questions. And all of them, I will emphasize, would say that you need to probe beyond those questions. When people give you an example, for an example, if they said, well, I left my last job because my boss and I didn't get along. Instead of moving on to the next question, that's an excellent place to probe. You may find that this person had legitimate reasons for saying that she and her boss didn't get along. On the other hand, what she may describe might be something that you raise a red flag and saying, well, if you didn't do this or you did that with me, we wouldn't get along as well. So send me your list of questions, and there is my email, and you can send me your, send me your email, and I will send you my comprehensive list of questions. I think there's 31 or 32. And it's not like you're going to get into an interview and you're going to ask 32 questions. I understand that. But it gives you a variety of questions you can choose from. Remember, you're trying to find the real person, that one with that interactive personality that can sell. Hopefully you find that they're selling you in the interview. And just remember that people are naturally what they are by the time we get to hiring them. Most of the time, people can't put on a real interactive and natural selling personality to you during the interview and be like a dead wallflower when they get to work behind the counter. So let's talk now about the question that Sunny Days brought up. Again, I love that name, Sunny. I am not making light of your name. I'm saying it's great. It's like, I'll show you here. I may be old, but I got to see all the cool bands. So a little bit of humor in this industry right now is not a bad thing. So what Sunny said, wanting to know how to provide the best customer experience from employees who are engaged through service and sales, rather related goods. And my answer to that is that what you want is the best customer experience comes from employees who are engaged and through what we call job enrichment. Now, this is a study, a research that's been done for many, many years. It was part of my MBA, part of the last book that I wrote. If you give people more responsibility, that could be considered job loading as opposed to job enrichment. Now, in job enrichment gives them things that besides selling and good customer service and cleaning and deep cleaning or whatever, there might be some other things that they would really like to do in a salon that they would like to be part of. The more that you can get your employees bonded to the salon for many reasons, the better the chances are they're going to stay there. And I have to tell you, through 30 years of doing this business and interviewing and working with employees in thousands of salons, I can tell you that I've seen many, many examples of people that could have gotten paid more at another job, but stayed with the tanning salon or tanning salon chain because their job was enriched. It wasn't just selling, wasn't just deep cleaning, that there were other responsibilities that they had. But here's the key. The other responsibilities should be matched with some authority. In other words, delegate not only some responsibilities that they want to do other than the basic of selling and cleaning. Maybe there's something else they want to do. And I'm going to show you a list here in just a minute of suggestions, things that they want to do, but give them a little authority to do it. Remember, the most important thing is the end product of getting that task or job done. And it's not always how you get it done. So you got to learn sometimes to give up a little control to get more control. What I mean by that is delegation. And by the way, in my vault, there's a whole book on delegation. It's really good, if I don't mind saying myself. Okay, so examples of job enrichment. All right, now, if you have somebody that really likes the lotion side of the business, they're good at selling lotions. Let's say they have all kinds of opinions on, say, better lotions that they think that the salon should carry. Well, when it comes right down to it, and with apologies to the lotion companies, lotions has been expressed to me years ago. Lotions are kind of like snake oil. Now, I know that's not completely true. There are some better quality lotions than others, but let's talk about what's important with lotions. The bottle design, maybe it's JWoww or whatever, it's got a name on it or something like that, or it's got a reputation that goes back many years, like Australian Gold, and I could give you all kinds of other examples, whatever. And its smell, of course, smell is important, and maybe the touch of the feel on the hands or whatever. But the most important thing selling any lotion is the person behind the counter. Now, if they're involved in what lotion should be ordered, the chances are a lot stronger they're going to do a better job of actually selling it. So it may make them excited about being involved in putting together the order with the distributor. And remember, we've got downtime. It's not always selling, and it's not always cleaning or deep cleaning or whatever, because Lord knows we have some downtime. So if you get somebody involved in that, then you've also got a backup. Let's say that if, as the owner, or the manager, and if you're doing lotion ordering, if you're ill and you can't do it a particular week and you need lotions, you've got a backup person, and you've got another reason for them to want to work for you. Another one is overseeing a monthly sales report of sales ranking. So let's say you've got 4 or 5 employees. And yes, I know you can always go in your software. Every employee can. Just about every software that I know. If you can go in there and you can see what their per sale average is, what their lotion average is, you can see all of that in there, but it doesn't do a real good job of ranking it with other employees. And the one thing you have to remember about either millennials or that generation even below them or slightly in that X generation, whatever, they are still very competitive people, and they don't want to be outdone by their peers. So it is good to have a ranking report. Now, what you can do on that is you can rotate that every month. You can, if assuming this is an employee wants to do this, have them go into your software and print out who did the best for the last month in their lotion average and their PSA average, maybe in their EFT sales versus transactions. And you start to get people thinking about that report, particularly the person that is doing the report. Because if I'm the person that's assigned this month and I want to do it, make sure this is somebody that wants to be involved in this. If I do it and it looks like I'm next to last, that's going to subtly allow me to kick myself in the butt, which is always much better. It is always better if employees self-motivate themselves other than having somebody give them that kick in the butt. Sometimes you got to do that, I know. But anyway, the monthly sales ranking, it's a good thing to get them involved in. Okay, so if you don't have meetings, you should have meetings. Now, during this COVID and during the letdown in business, maybe you're not having a lot of meetings now, but I know people at the height of peak season or prep to pre-season that weren't having monthly sales meetings, and you need to have it. And again, that's in the vault. There's webinars in there of how to conduct a great meeting. And you should know how to do it because it's a great way for employees to communicate with each other, to communicate with you. If you do meetings right, it actually is a motivator, if you can actually believe that. Some people can't believe it because they see their employees sitting there on the floor of the salon during a meeting, looking at their watch, looking at their cell phone to do uh, a text message or something, which you don't allow during meetings. You shouldn't anyway. But how about letting one of your employees be the topic chair? And let's say that it's somebody that's really is good at lotions. Say to them, okay, during this next meeting, Lisa, I'd like you to talk about what we're doing in lotions, say for this last month or two, and what it is that you do since you're so good at it. What is it that you do? Do you say to the customer, well, let's talk about a bronzer. I've got a low price bronzer, an expensive one. I've got one in the middle. And then you talk about the differences between them. Um, Obviously not when you've got 5 people standing in line, but you talk about why one is better than the other and base that, balance that against the customer's budget. A lot of times they take the one in the middle, but if they're taking high priced equipment, high pressure equipment, level 4, level 5 type equipment, a lot of times that person will take the more expensive bottle of black. But let that employee be the chairperson of that, say, 15 minutes of that monthly meeting. You get people more involved in the meeting. That's not a person that's going to be giving that or talking about that. That's not a person that's going to be doing text messages on their phone. Now, not everybody likes talking in front of other people. So get somebody that's got that highly interactive personality that I talked about in the interviewing situation when I was answering Kathy Oberbeck. Okay, so next thing, peer training. You got a newbie coming in, ask one of your people that's really good to be partially responsible with you or whoever it is that's doing the training to do some of the training for a shift sharing. I know now you're just lucky if you can just keep the salons open, and I understand that. But peer training is really good. For one thing, a new employee actually learns better from a peer than they do from their boss. Now, I know that sounds crazy. Maybe the boss technically knows the job better, probably, okay, but they're more, let's call it threatening to the newbie. The newbie working with a peer. Now, what you could do is you can give the peer incentives. You can say with this new employee, next month, if they hit a PSA of, and it depends on your market. Some markets, $6.50 might be high. I mean, there's peak season, there's off-peak season. You might say, oh, hit $8, whatever. And you tell the peer that's helping you do the training, you get the newbie to hit that next month, I'll give you another $50 or whatever. It's well worth the money to you. And now when you do that and you give that good employee that peer training responsibility, give them a little bit of authority to redirect this employee, this newbie employee. Again, you're going to be bonding that employee that's doing the peer training. You're going to bond them more to the salon because this is something that's pretty cool. Now, if they don't like doing that, fine, then don't do it. And all of these things I'm talking about, it's good to get employees that want to have an additional responsibility with additional bit of authority. Okay, now, as far as sharing profits, Sunny brought up the talk about sharing in profits. I'm not sure that Sunny, and I'm not sure if Sunny is a man or woman, excuse me, I don't know, but whoever you are, Sunny, it was great questions you brought up. I don't know that that they meant sharing profits. It's rare that I would put any salon employee on a profit sharing plan, unless of course they're a regional manager or general manager of a chain or whatever. What you want them on is an incremental income sharing plan, because employees don't control profit. They control the top line, The selling side of it, yes, they certainly have control over that, but they can't control what you have to pay in lease or equipment rentals or any other of the fixed costs that you have. But you get them involved in a incentive on incremental selling, and boy, that can make a big difference. I've seen it. We do this usually with management of chains. It works extremely well. We create a bonus pool of incremental revenue that is incremental over what you did for the same period last year. Now, this year is really screwed up. We know that. But let's say that your salon is fully opened in the month of August. August might be a better month for you than August would have been last year anyway, because people are coming off the COVID. But let's say that you had a manager and assistant manager who said, I'm going to take 10% of the incremental revenue. I'm going to share it with you, dividing it maybe 65% manager, 35% assistant manager, for whatever else that we do over and above last year. Again, you're keeping your base of sales and you're keeping 90% of the incremental, but you're sharing this with these two employees that are probably very instrumental in your business. So Sonny, I hope that gives you some answers to what we were talking about on your question. Let's talk about Diane Henning. And again, she had some really good stuff that she was talking about. She said your employees need to feel like they're part of the salon as if it was there. Diane, you are 100% correct. One of the more basic motivations that employees have, and this has just been part of my both academic and vocational studies for years. But when you can get employees to feel an affiliation to the salon, not just someplace they go and they put in their hours and they get a paycheck. They're really affiliated. They take ownership in it, like you said, Diane. And suddenly you get people that are doing that to really express their pride and an esprit de corps of the salon. When I talk to salons and they tell me, salon employees tell me, we are absolutely the best, not just the salon, not just the equipment. I kind of say, okay, great on the equipment, but there's always that subjectivity on equipment, right? But when they say, I think we're the best because we have 5 employees in the salon and they're all killers. They all support each other. You got that. That's huge. Okay, so let me, Diane, let me get to answering. The most accomplished we can be in running salons is to get employees to take emotional ownership in the salon's success. When it's just the owner or maybe just the manager that's worried about it, you're just not getting the potential out of it. To get people to come in and work on a weekend when no one else is around and you don't have a lot of traffic, particularly on a Sunday, they sit there on a stool and they're sending out Facebook. It just, you need people to really be involved and have that emotional ownership and take what I would call an ego pride in how that salon is in the market. We are the best. Pride makes them want to brag about their salon's quality, and they brag about it on their Facebook, which is what you want. So if you're the owner, you need to provide leadership that encourages employees to view customers as a lifetime value. In other words, we don't want just that customer for 30 days. If we get them and that's all we get them, okay. But we want to look at them at the lifetime value, how important that is to the salon. And we want employees thinking like owners. Makes a huge difference. All right, so let me get to the last part of that in communications. What you could do to get that emotional ownership is to have everyone informed about the salon's progress. Every once in a while, I'll talk to an owner that says, I don't want to share numbers or anything with my employees because somehow they're afraid the competition will find out. Believe me, if the competition wants to know what you're doing in your salon, they can find out. I have all kinds of ways that we find out about, for my clients, that we find out about their competition. All kinds of ways. If they want to find out how much business you're doing, they're going to do it. And if you have emotional ownership, your employees are not going to tell them about what's going on anyway. But you're better off to communicate with your employees the progress of the salon. It encourages what I call approachability. Employees feel that you are approachable, that they can come to you with anything. Communication is huge. What we find in human resource studies is that more people leave jobs because of a relationship or a lack of relationship with the boss. And a big part of that is communication. Look at the marriages. Yes, I personally know that. This marriage is a good one. We've been together for 30 years. But I personally know about the previous marriage. Communication was terrible on both of our parts. Okay, moving on. Let's go to, why am I having problems here? Okay, let's go to Kyle Steffel. Kyle, train people well enough so they can leave, treat them well enough so they don't want to. A quote from Richard Branson. Kyle, excellent quote. I love the quote. If you treat them well enough, they don't want to leave. And you said, I've always treated people like people first. Your word is your word. Don't bullshit them. Can't, the heck with it. You have to be politically correct. Don't bullshit them. People don't like bullshit, and they can tell it. When they get to the point where they don't trust you, when you get to the point where your employees don't trust you, you are SOL, because that's when they start to do things behind your back. That's when they show up late. That's when they don't care about the job. So Kyle also said, I use people management or people experience when I think of HR. Okay, so let's get to what you said there, Kyle. Hey, Kyle, good comments, good attitude about the HR side of running the business. And it's quite simple. Salons become, good salons, great salons become the employer of choice. These people that are working for us in salons don't have to work for us. Getting them back from COVID sometimes is a challenge, but the good ones will come back anyway. But they can work at a lot of places. When I was a kid, since I'm so damn old, we didn't have a lot of choices of a lot of jobs. We really honored having that job. This generation that is working in salons today have lots of choices to go to. So we have to be the employer of choice. And if you feel that your expectations for certain employees is particularly low, then you've got to let them know why it is. Going back to communications that we talked about, you can't keep those low expectations, your perceptions of that, from employees. If there's a lot of good, tangible reasons why you have low perceptions of expectations of them, then do yourself a favor, move on, find somebody else to replace them. And never forget that one of the secrets of powerful leadership is to help employees to be their best. And something that an HR pro told me 30, 40 years ago, if you can help employees to maintain or enhance their self-esteem, they're going to follow you anywhere. And that has been a huge help to me. I've always, for many, many years, I've been considered as one of the best bosses that people ever work for. And that's because I know about enhancing self-esteem. I grew up with a parent that was a big drinker. And one of the side effects of alcoholism is for children of addicted parents is low self-esteem. And I finally ran into a couple of good bosses that helped me, and did a lot of other things myself to help me. And that made all the difference in the world. It enhanced my self-esteem, and I do that every day. This very video I'm doing for you right now enhances my self-esteem because I know I'm doing something good to help you out there. And I hope that you got something good out of it. And again, if you want my interview questions, send me an email and I'll send them on back to you. Thank you for listening to me. And let's just keep praying we get out of this COVID thing full time, get back to preparing ourselves to having a good fall, a good fourth quarter, and get ready for 2021, because 2021 is going to be nuts. COVID will be gone, hopefully. Looting, protesting, whatever will be gone, and the election will be over with, and we can get down to business and have a great 2021. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.